tricky one when you've been doing it for so long. Back many years ago, I worked as a special constable in the police, so I think I'd fancy myself as a bit of a detective right now. I think because I was quite enjoying being part of the police constabulary with my warrant card. So yeah, I think I'd be exploring that a bit more.
Yeah, I think I would have been a teacher actually, but primary school teacher, or maybe for reception, because I always like working with children, and I come from a big family and used to being around a lot of children and really enjoyed that sort of, looking after them. So I reckon I would have been a teacher.
I would probably run some kind of animal rescue centre, preferably abroad, taking in all those sort of stray cats and dogs you see wandering around with 3 legs or something. Probably need a lottery win to do that.
Sometimes I don't, depending on who you're talking to. No, I'd probably start just by, I don't actually say I'm a clin neg lawyer, because I think that the impression they immediately get from that might be that you're a bit labelled as an ambulance chaser or something like that. So I normally say that if people have had things happen to them through a mistake, through medicine or dental negligence, then we help to get them compensation, to get their life back on track, and to get them the help that they need to be back to the position they should have been in had it not been for the negligence.
Oh, I don't. I tell them I work in an office.
Yeah, it can be a bit controversial. I think a lot of people have particularly strong opinions about suing the NHS and what we do without knowing kind of the full benefit we can bring to someone's life, and that we can't just bring claims, without good legal basis. So, and it always seems that we're stuck on tables with medical people.
But even they don't understand a lot of the time that there is a really difficult test you have to satisfy to be successful in a claim, and it's not just a case of, well, I think that they behaved really badly and I'm going to sue them for it. It's not like that, and I think people don't understand that until you explain it to them. So
I think maybe a lot of kind of American media and culture kind of gives people the wrong impression of what we do and how measured and limited it is in kind of the UK, England and Wales and what we do. And I think people just think we live in this giant litigation culture when it's not quite the same as what you see on TV.
Yeah. I think we've got a really good team. I really enjoy coming to work every day and getting on with the people that I work with, and I think we work really well together. You've always got some support. We're a real no-blame culture. There's a lot of communication between team members.
I think what I enjoy about it most is the people that I work with in our department. I think everyone is very down to earth, very empathetic people. We all get very emotionally involved with the cases and all want to achieve a good outcome, and everyone's just very supportive.
So I started my career off at Royds Withy King, and in particular the clinical negligence teams have such an amazing kind of national reputation. So for me, what really kind of makes it a special workplace is kind of the reputation, the experience that we have, that I've been able to learn off and gain experience of, and I think that really sets us out, and just generally, like, we work really well together as a team, and it's a pleasure to come into work every day. Yeah.
I had a really bad experience recently when I had a client who was absolutely lovely, really nice guy, and that was it wasn't actually part of the claim, but he had a cancer diagnosis during the process of litigation, and he died before the settlement came in, and that for me was really sort of gut-wrenching, really, because he was just a really amazing person, and I think he knew that we'd settled, but he didn't have an opportunity to use that money for his care, and to and that was really hard, actually, because you do get to know your clients so well that it feels very personal when something like that happens.
The hardest part for me, because I do a lot of maternal injury cases, there are some cases that concern babies that have died, and I think I find those very difficult, because the purpose of compensation is to put a client in a position they would have been had the negligence not occurred, and in those sorts of cases you can't ever replace the loss of someone's child, and so I think I find those cases very difficult.
Yeah, I think similar to that, we're in a very privileged position where someone invites us into their kind of personal medical background. So you see a lot. So if there has, like my client recently who did have a cancer diagnosis and unfortunately is terminal, that's really hard as well. And it's also the claims where you can't take it forward. Perhaps there hasn't been the right expert evidence in support of your case. And I think that's challenging as well when someone's so invested in the claim, trying to manage their expectations, but you don't always get the right result.
When I did my training contract, we always have to do a number of different seats, and I did a little bit of the commercial stuff and employment, and Clin Neg I just felt was really, you get really involved in the cases, and because they go on for quite a long period of time, you really get to know your clients and can get really stuck into it. And I just felt that it was really nice to be able to speak to my clients and really get involved in what was happening in their lives.
I think having decided to go into law, I then tried some different areas, and I really enjoyed doing Clin Neg in terms of meeting the people, also working with the medical practitioners, getting an understanding for medicine and some of the issues around the cases. And the clients that we work with, they're rewarding cases to work on, because you're hopefully putting in place things that are going to improve the quality of someone's life.
Yeah, similar reasons. It's just working with the client and having that personal touch with them. And I think also we all have quite an interest in the medical side of things as well. Yeah. So I think that kind of drew us in a bit.
And then all the same, the cases, you always get, every case you take on is completely different, and what you're looking at and what you're exploring is different areas of medicine and dealing with different experts. And it's really interesting.
So I recently settled a really big case at mediation, and sadly it was involved a lady who had a poor prognosis from cancer. So not only did she get the money that she needed for the care needs that she has, it's obviously a huge relief the litigation's finished for her, and she's got some reassurance in what's going to be quite a few troublesome years in front of her, knowing that she's got a pot of money there that's gonna look after her. So that was hugely rewarding after what was a really drawn out case.
Yeah, I think the first time you secure settlement for a client, there's your own case and you're not assisting somebody else on it, and it's your file, and you bring in that conversation and get that thanks from the client. I think that's a really good feeling that you've done that for somebody, and you've changed someone's life, and that's really amazing, I think.
I think it is settling a case, and I've had a couple of cases. I've had one case that, for a lot of complicated reasons, went on for about sort of 8-9 years before we could determine the client's prognosis. And I think when you finally reach the settlement in that sort of situation, it's a really good outcome that you've worked really hard for, and it's just quite fulfilling.